हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा गिरिधारी राधा गिरिधारी राधे। जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधे। जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा। जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा। गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय। नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव। जय प्रभुपाद की जय हो। आज भाद्र पूर्णिमा है तो श्रीमद् भागवतम का ग्लोरिफिकेशन की दो छोटी छोटी प्रेयर से वो करती हूँ। फर्स्ट वन है फ्रॉम कृष्णा लीला स्तवा बाय श्रीला सनातन गोस्वामी जी से द्वारा। सर्वशास्त्रार्थ पीयूष सर्ववेदैक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाढ्य सर्वलोकैक ध्रुपद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवत प्रभो कलिद्वान्तोदिदादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तित परमानंद पाठनाय प्रेम वक्षक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमस्तुते। मदेकबन्धो मत्सङ्गीन् मत्तुरो मद्महाधन मन्निष्ठारक मद्भाग्य मदानन्द नमोस्तुते। असाधु साधु दायिनी अतिनी चोचतारक हानमुञ्च कदाचिन्मां प्रेरणारित्कण्ठयो स्फुर। पादो यदीयो प्रथम द्वितीयो तृतीय तुर्यो कथितो यदुरु नाभिस्तथा पञ्चमेव षष्ठो पुञ्जान्तरं दो युगलं तथान्यो कण्ठस्तु राजन् नवमो यदीयो मुखारविन्दं दशमं प्रफुल्लम् एकादशो यश्वललाटपट्टं शिरोऽपि यत्त्वा दश एव भाति। नमामि देवं करुणानिधानं तमालवर्णं सुहितावतारम् अपार संसार सामुद्र सेतु भजामहे भागवत स्वरूपम् भजामहे भागवत स्वरूपम्। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय हो। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय हो। आज मैं भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर का श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु जीवे दया करे वो छोटा सा सॉन्ग करती हूँ फ्रॉम शरणागति। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु जीवे दया करी श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु जीवे दया करी स्वपार्षद स्वीय धाम सहाय अवतारी स्वपार्षद स्वीय धाम सहाय अवतारी अत्यंत दुर्लभ प्रेम करी बारे दान अत्यंत दुर्लभ प्रेम करी बारे दान शिखाय शरणागति भक्तेर प्राण देन आत्मनिवेदन गोपतृत्वे वर तेन आत्मनिवेदन गोपतृत्वे वर अवश्य रक्षिबे कृष्ण विश्वास पालन भक्ति अनुकूल मात्र कार्य स्वीकार भक्ति प्रतिकूल भाव वर्जन अंगीकार षड शरणागती होई बेजाहार ताहार प्रार्थना शुने श्री नंद कुमार रूप सनातन पदे दंते तृण करी भक्ति विनोद पडे दुहु पद धरी कांदिया बोले आम्ही ते अधम शिखाए शरण गती करो हे उत्तम श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु जीवे दया करी स्वपार्षद स्वीय धाम सहयवतरी स्वपार्षद स्वीय धाम सहवतरी। भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय हो। Now translation. Out of compassion for the fallen soul, Sri Krishna Chaitanya came to this world with his personal associates in divine abode to teach Sharanagati, surrender to the Almighty Godhead, and to freely distribute ecstatic love of God, which is ordinarily very difficult to obtain. This Sharanagati is the very life of the true devotee. The way of Sharanagati are humility, dedication of the self, acceptance of the Lord as one's only maintainer, faith that Krishna will surely protect, execution of only those acts favorable to pure devotion, and renunciation of conduct adverse to pure devotion. The youthful son of Nanda Maharaja, Shri Krishna, hears the prayers of anyone who takes refuge in him by this sixfold practice. Bhakti Vinoda places a straw between his teeth, prostrate himself before the two Goswami Sri Rupa and the Sri Sanatana and grabs their lotus feet with his hands. I am certainly the lowest of men, he tells them weeping, but please make me the best of men by teaching me the way of Sharanagati. हरे कृष्णा। भक्ति विनोदा ठाकुर की जय हो। और आज मैं दूसरा करती हूँ जी अनिलो प्रेम धन, क्योंकि yesterday हरिदास ठाकुर जी disappearance day, Jiva Goswami appearance day, Bhakti Vinoda Thakur appearance day. So I thought today I am going to do Jai Anilo Premathana. Hare Krishna. Jai Anilo Premathana Karuna Prachura Jai Anilo Premathana Karuna Prachura Heno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakura Kaha Mora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatana Kaha Dasa Raghunatha Patita Pavana Kaha Mora Bhatta Juga Kaha Kaviraja Ekale Kotha Gela Gora Nataraja Pashane Kutiba Matha Anale Pashivo Goranga Guner Nidhi Kotha Gele Pavo Se Sab Sangira Sange Je Koi Lo Vilasa Se Sanga Na Paya Kande Narottama Dasa Je Anilo Prema Dhana Karuna Prachura हेनो प्रभु कोथा गेला आचार्य ठाकूर तेन हेनो प्रभु कोथा गेला आचार्य ठाकूर हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। सर्व आचार्यों की जय हो, सर्व गुरुओं की जय हो, श्रील नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर की जय हो। Translation: He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Advaita Acharya gone? Where are my Swarupa Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatt and Gopal Bhatt? And where is Krishna Das Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the greater dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the giver of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastime, Narottam Das simply weeps. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for so wonderful seva.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much on this very, very auspicious day. As you said, today is Bhadra Purnima. Another thing also, this is very important. Srila Prabhupada had accepted sannyasa today only on this day. And this Bhadra Purnima is considered the most auspicious day in the Hindu calendar, and it is regarded as the most sacred and fruitful day. And from today, the Saddha Paksha for 15 days, it also starts and it will end on the new moon of Aswina. So with this, we'll start today's class. I welcome all the devotees to our this session. We'll be learning about lesson 29 today. And with prostrated obeisances at the lotus feet of all the devotees, we'll start today's class with the prayers. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Punyavadi Paschatya Desatarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Trivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnanajnana Salakaya Chakshurummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yukta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaram Prathan Vitam Tamto Jivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Visakhanitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Rupesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpatarubhya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyan Namami Bhakta Saktikam Jetam Surato Pangarmam Mandanitirgati Matsarvat Swapadam Bhujo Radha Madana Divyat Vrindaram Sri Ratnam Singhasanistito Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devau Pristali Sevyamanav Swarami Srimandara Sarasarandi Namsi Vatatrakastita Darsana Venusvanir Gopire Gopinatha Sriyaspunah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srimati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Now we'll offer our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratrise Namaha. O most munificent incarnation, you are Krishna himself appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden color of Srimati Radharani and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Krishna Varnam Dasa Krishnam Sangopang Astraparsadam Yagya Sankirtana Praye Rajajanti Sumedasa. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Nana Shastra Vicharana Nipunam Shardharma Samstapako Lokanam Hitakarinam Tribhavane Manya Saranya Karo Radha Krishna Padaravinda Vajanam Anandena Mattalikam Banderu Pasanatana Rabujugo Sri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the three worlds and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the divine couple, Sri Radha and Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Narayanam Namaskritya, Naram Chaiva Narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat, Ashtaprayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Once again, I welcome all the devotees to the today's session for lesson 29. Before we start lesson 29, let us hear what was covered in the last session, that is in lesson 28 of this Jaiva Dharma. Yes, Prabhuji. Your mic is off, Prabhuji.
Unless I'm mistaken, I thought you were going to do lesson 30 now.
Yeah.
Is it lesson 30 that you are going to do today?
Lesson, oh, yes. Yes, Prabhuji. Sorry. Yes, you are right. It is lesson 30.
Thank you.
Lesson 29 was covered last time. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, Babaji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Yes. I do herewith welcome Hitesh, Charuchandra Prabhuji, Hitesh, Sharad Prabhuji, and all devotees on board. We herewith welcome you all on this auspicious day and this session of Sri Jaiva Dharma. And here we are going for synopsis of lesson 29 of Sri Jaiva Dharma. And lesson 29, it was from chapter 21, and which includes 6 themes. And it speaks about Abhideya, that is Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So this lesson, it included 6 themes. The theme first was how Rajnath and Vijay Kumara received initiation from Sri Raghunath Das Babaji. The second theme was the nature and kinds of Ragatmika Bhakti. Third theme was the nature and kinds of Raganuga Bhakti. And the fourth thing, the souls externally in their male form follow Vaidhi Bhakti, but internally in their original spiritual form as a female follow Raga Bhakti. Fifth was the difference between lust, that is kama, and love, that is prem. So sixth theme was Babaji, how he revealed to Rajnath and Vijay Kumara his original form and garments of spiritual body. In theme first, we saw that how Rajnath and Vijay Kumara, even though Rajnath was initiated by Smarta Brahmana previously with Gayatri Mantra, but still was initiated by uh, Vaishnava Guru, spiritual master, that is Sri Raghunath Das Babaji Maharaj. So we saw how with all this paraphernalia and with Sattvic Bhav, with proper ecstasy, they got initiated happily. Then the second thing was what the word rag means. So rag means loving attachment. When that rag is placed for the beloved Krishna, then it becomes ragatmika bhakti. So, so long as this rag has not been manifested itself, till then it remains Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. And when it gets manifested, then it becomes ragatmika bhakti. So, who is qualified to perform raga bhakti? So, one who has got the faith in Shastra and who has got this strong or intense desire so as to serve and so as to attain Lord Krishna's prem is qualified so as to get raga bhakti. Then we saw what are the qualities of the strong desire. So the one who hears, one who meditates, uh, follows Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, as we say. One who hears and automatically, so without any meditation, who attains the love to Krishna, will follow Raganuga bhakti or Ragatmika bhakti, we can say. Then what is the difference between what we can say? There are 6 desires by means of which one can attain love with Lord. So it is the gopis with their lusty desire. It is Kamsa with this fear. Then Shishupala with envy, Yadus with their family relations, and the Pandavas who had the great affection for Lord Krishna. And 6, Narada by his devotion. So likewise, we saw that how persons have attained liberation simply by thinking of Krishna with great attention. So what are the different kinds of ragatmika bhakti? Explain the difference between them was a question was asked by Rajna. So there are 2 types of bhakti. One is kamarupa or devotion born from desire, and other one out of relationship, that is sambandha rupa. So we see kamarupa bhakti. So the Vraja gopis, they do follow, they are the representative of this type of bhakti. And with respect to Sambandha Rupa Bhakti, we saw Yadus who are in relation with Lord. Then we saw the nature and kinds of Raganuga Bhakti. What are the activities of Raganuga Bhakti? So here we saw they do remain uh, in Vraj themselves, like in the power of gopis, that 24/7 in the thought of Lord Krishna and in the mood as a servitor. So he always serves the Lord in 2 ways. Externally, he performs Vaidhi Bhakti, and internally will be following Raga Bhakti. So what is the connection between Raganuga and the limbs of Vaidhi Bhakti? Yes, it is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. It is quite a long process. While as Raganuga Bhakti, it is a slow and a spontaneous process, as we have seen. So how Raganuga Bhakti, it is glorious. Yes, Raganuga Bhakti is glorious as it can be attained with the attraction and intense desire with Lord Krishna, and one gets pushed for the true spiritual life as compared to Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So, what are the 2 sentimental forms of Kama and Sambandha Rupa manifest in Raganuga Bhakti? So there are 2 types of bhakti, Kama Rupa. Uh, so it's of again 2 types, the Sambandha Ichhamai and Tattat Bhava Ichhamai. So out of yearning to enjoy and out of yearning to love. So these are the two types of bhakti. So the desire to participate in Lord Krishna's pastimes with the Vraja gopis. So the desire to attain the sweetness of love that the Vraj gopis felt for Krishna. And the second one, it is Sambandha Rupa Bhakti. So into Sambandha Anuga Bhakti is a so, a Sambandhanuga Bhakti or devotional service in a familial relationship with Lord Krishna is of three types. First one is Dasya Rasa out of Sakhya Rasa, and third one is out of Vatsalya Rasa. So, in case of Dasya Rasa, we see that uh, I'm a servant of the Lord Krishna who is my beloved master. So that is the feeling. And Prabhuji also explained how Raktaka and Patraka, they used to serve Lord. Then in case of Sakhya Rasa, we do see the feeling of the devotee as Krishna is my dearest friend. And one should follow in the footsteps of like Subala and other friends of Lord Krishna in Vraj. Then in case of Vatsalya Rasa, one should be in the mood of Nanda and Yashoda Mata so as to serve Lord. So it is as per natural inclination, one should follow that particular rasa was the essence. Then next, the souls externally in their male form follow Vaidhi Bhakti, but internally in their original spiritual form as a female follow Raga Bhakti. So Lord Krishna is male, yes. Uh, Only Lord Sri Krishna is the Purusha, and the rest, all Jivas, they are in their female form. So Vrajagopis are also female. Therefore, I can see that only women are qualified to practice this kind of Raganuga Bhakti. How can men be qualified to attain? Again, Rajamukh Prabhuji also asked the same question in the previous session. Yes, as Prabhuji explained nicely, it is that only Lord Krishna is in male form and the rest others, they are in female form. With spiritually, they are in female form. Maybe materially, they can be in male forms also. So Prabhuji explained the different examples of acharyas, like in Vilap Kusumanjali, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, we do see that he was in the mode of the gopi. So even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the mode of Radharani. And so our acharyas from our parampara, they are all manjiris in Vrajalila. So here we do see that each individual soul can have in original spiritual form as a female form. And there are five rasas which can be exchanged. First, Dasya Rasa, Sakya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, and Madhurya Rasa. In that, Madhurya Rasa can be reciprocated in the female form. Even Vatsalya Rasa can be. And the rest, Sakya Rasa and Dasya Rasa, mostly these are seen in case of males. So how do souls with male external material bodies follow in the footsteps of the Vraja gopis? So in different ways, as they are qualified, they become attracted to Shringaras. By following a particular gopi, one's original spiritual form is openly manifested, and in that original form, one serves Lord Krishna directly. So even though their external material form is male, their original spiritual form is always female. So it has been explained in Padma Purana that Dandakaranya Rishis, they all were manifested in Krishna Lila as the Vraja gopis. So there are two types of gopis, Nitya Siddha gopis and Sadhana Siddha gopis. Nitya Siddha gopis who do participated in Krishna's pastimes in Ras Leela also, and they got liberated. So they are eternally liberated. They are Sakhis of Radharani. So Radharani and Ashtasakhi, they are Nitya Siddhas. While as the sadhana siddha souls jivas, they do get liberated by devotional service and they do get salokya mukti. So, Kamanuga that is being followed by this Dandakaranya rishis as it has been explained. So, it is a siddha sharira in case of female, as well as all demigods and goddesses also participated in Ras Leela pastime of Lord. So, yes, it was explained which gopis were eternally liberated, and likewise there are Nitya Siddha and Sadhana Siddha. So then Prabhuji also explained in question answer session, yes, Dwarka Leela queens, they were in Swakiya Bhava, while as Vraja Gopis, they are in Parkiya Bhava. We have learned in Radha Tattva also. In Paramar relationship, they were there and they released the particular loving exchange and conjugal love with Lord Krishna in Parkiya Bhava. So there is difference between lusted desire and prem. So what is lust in material world is the thirst to enjoy. And this feeling of enjoyment in this material world, as we see, is called as the lust or kama, while as the causeless love for Krishna is, which is the selfless, is called as prema. So as Jiva it belongs to Jagat or Prakriti, and Prakriti is to be enjoyed by Krishna. And so we all cannot enjoy, but we can be enjoyed by Lord Krishna. So for us, if Krishna is happy, then one should be happy. So it was explained. Yes, the Kubja's example, it was explained. Yes, it is different from lust and prema. Also nicely was explained by Prabhuji. So we also see that lust in this material world is controlled by the three modes of Maya, Sattva, Gun, Tamogun, as well as Rajagun. While as in the spiritual world, so there is no Maya Shakti, and so there doesn't exist the three modes of nature as we see. And then Sri Raghunath Das Babaji explained the identity of his in the spiritual world as how Rajanath House sees that Babaji is a follower of Subala, who is tending the cows, while as Vijay Kumara sees that Babaji Mahashay is assistant to Srimati Lalita Sakhi, and who is nothing but Manjiri, who is assisting Lalita Sakhi. So how simultaneously both can be seen in the different forms? Yes, one can have these different forms was explained at the end by Prabhuji in this particular chapter. So was the essence of lesson 29. So I do request His Grace Sharad Prabhuji to us to proceed for lesson 30 now.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much for giving the synopsis so nicely. I welcome all the devotees once again. Let us start with lesson 30. Lesson 30 is given in this slide. It is, we'll be learning about the Prayojana Tattva. Then next slide. Now, Prayojana Tattva begins with Bhava Tattva. We have been hearing about Bhava and Prema. About Prema, we will see in very, very great detail after next weekend. But in today's class, we'll be talking about Bhava. It has got three themes. In this, the final Dasamula verse in two parts, their glory and Sruti Phala. This thing we'll learn today. Then the second thing we'll learn about the Bhava Tattva, what is Bhava and what are the various things connected with it. And at the end, we'll learn about Babaji's recommendation for Brajanatha to serve Lord Krishna with his Grihastha Dharma, Grihasthasrama. You remember that he was initially in the very beginning only, he was following the Jnana Marga, then he didn't want to marry and his grandmother wanted to get him married. So this was carrying on. Now the Babaji Maharaj, Babaji Mahasaya, he will be advising him to serve Lord Krishna and get married and accept the Grihastha Dharma. Now, before we start with the 10th verse, that is the final verse of the Dasamula Tattva, in very, very brief, let me tell you what we have learned so far. Now, in this, the 10 verses, Dasamula Tattva, or the 10 fundamental or esoteric principles Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given out the essence. And now the very first sloka when we started, it gave the gist. Then the actual Dasavala Tattva started from the second sloka onward. The second to eighth, they spoke about Sambandha Tattva. And then the ninth sloka describes the Avideya Tattva. And the 10th sloka describes the Prayojana Tattva. We'll learn about this. In very brief, what is Sambandha? Our Sambandha with Krishna is that we are eternally servants of Lord Krishna. That is the Sambandha. In one line, it is that. And what is Avideya? Avideya means what is the way to reach him? It is loving devotional service only and nothing else. And with this, what we'll get? We'll get Krishna Prema. That is the Prayojana Tattva. Now, we have learned in verse 1, we called it the Pramana Tattva or Pramana. And in that we learned the teachings of the Vedas, which are received through the Parampara system, Guru Parampara. They are the best and they should be accepted only. And the infallible evidence of the Vedas or the Smruti Shastras headed by Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as the evidence such as direct sense perception, that is the Pratyaksha Pramana, that concur with the guidance of the Vedas, they are all accepted as Pramana. Now the Pramana establishes the Prameyas or the fundamental truths. That also we learned in the second verse. We learned the Parama Tattva, that Sri Hari, Sri Krishna alone is the supreme absolute truth. There is nobody other than him. He is the only one. Then third, we learn Sarva Shaktiman. Sri Krishna is the possessor of all potency. He has got all potencies 100%. Nobody else has got that much potency. Then the fourth one, Akhila Rasamrita Sindhu, he is the ocean of all nectarian mellows. And fifth, Vivinnam Satattva, we learned that how the Mukta Jivas, that is the liberated Jivas, and the Baddha Jivas, the conditioned Jivas, are Lord Krishna's eternally separated parts and parcels. The Baddha Jivas, we learned in verse 6, the conditioned souls are subject to the control and covering of Maya. And because of their minute size, they are controlled by Maya. And then about the liberated Jivas, Mukta Jivas, we learned in verse 7, the liberated souls, they are totally free from Maya. Then in the 8th, we learned Achintya Veda Tattva, the entire universe consisting of the Chit and Achit, the conscious and the unconscious matters, is Sri Hari's Achintya Veda Prakasa, and that is to say his manifestation, which is inconceivably both different and non-different from him. Then in 9th, we learned Suddha Bhakti or pure devotional service is the only practice to attain perfection. And today we learn the 10th verse, that is the Krishna Priti, the transcendental love and affection for Krishna is the only and only final object of attainment for a devotee. Now with this, we'll start with the 10th verse, which is given in two parts. But before this, let me tell this the small story. Actually, because of lack of time, we have not been telling the story. I hope you will read the book and know what transpired between the devotee and Babaji and all the question and answer. Actually, what happened on Ekadashi day, all the Vaishnavas, they started performing Kirtana and in the Srivasa Anganam beneath the Bakula tree. And the elderly Babaji Mahasaya, that is Raghunath Das Babaji, he was absorbed in that. And he was totally stunned. He was crying and laughing and shouting, where is my Rupa? Where is my Sanatana? Where is Dasa Goswami? Where is Krishnadas Kaviraj, my dearest brother? And where are they have gone? Why they have abandoned me like this? And he was saying, even the remembrance of Radha Kunda is troublesome for me, and I am totally wretched person, and only the vision of Rupa and Sanatana will save me from this. And when all the Vaishnavas they heard this, they said, Babaji, be patient. Rupa and Raghunatha, they are in your heart. Look here, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they are dancing before you. And then Babaji suddenly leapt to his feet and he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, Gadadhar, Acharya, Srivas Pandita, and all the other devotees performing Kirtana. And seeing all this, he said, blessed is Mayapur Dharma. Only Sri Mayapur can remove the grief of separation from Braja. And just at that time, Vijay Kumara and Brajanatha, they came and offered their obeisances at the lotus feet of Babaji. Then Babaji Maharaj was very much pleased and he asked from them, how is your vajana? And then the question answer session starts. Now, Vijay Kumara asked, what is the state of bhava? So far, you have not told us anything about this. Kindly bestow your mercy upon us by speaking on the subject. Now, Babaji said this will be discussed in the 10th verse of the Dasamula Tattva, and now I'll tell you. Now, then Babaji Mahasaya, he explains the 10th verse. The 10th verse actually is given in two parts, 10a and 10b. We'll see in great detail. Now, starting from serial 1, when sadhana bhakti matures, the jiva becomes aware of its spiritual form. And we are doing sadhana bhakti. And at the maturation stage, when it matures, then we will be able to know our original spiritual form, not before that. Then the next point is, by the power of the Lord's Ladini Shakti, bhava, the ecstatic love of Madhurya Rasa becomes manifested. And at that stage only, combined with the effect of Ladini Shakti, bhava or the ecstatic love in Madhurya Rasa, that will become manifest in the heart of the devotee. Now, the jiva becomes, bears in his heart the bhava for the divine couple of Braja, that is Radha and Krishna. And he attains priti or prema and bliss. We learn about all these things in very, very great detail. We are just telling you in very brief. We'll see them. Then gradually he attains happiness and good fortune, and that is unique in this world. See, this happiness and good fortune which is in the material world, it is much different than what the devotee gets in the spiritual world. And once one is liberated, one is known his spiritual form, that the happiness and good fortune he gets, that is something very, very unique. Good fortune means everything favorable to him will happen, and nothing unfavorable he will ever see. And even if he sees something, he ignores them. Then he enters the Lord's pastimes. He takes part in the pastimes of the Lord personally. And there he attends the Lord direct service. He renders direct service to Lord Krishna. And there is nothing higher than that. In very brief, I'll tell you what I said so far. Now, I said in the mature stage of sadhana bhakti, When the Jiva becomes situated in his Swarupa, then by the influence of Hladini potency of Lord Krishna, the state of Bhava in Madhura Rasa or Madhurya Rasa arises within him. In other words, the mood to follow in the footsteps of the dearmost associates of Sri Radha and Krishna in Braja, it arises in his heart. And gradually, he obtains happiness and prosperity that is unsurpassed in this material world in the form of supreme service or Paramananda, which is known also as Vilasa. And there is no greater gain than this thing in this whole universe. That means he gets anything and everything what one can expect. Then let us see what is the second part of this last verse, 10b, Vajana Tattva, the goal of life. The goal of life is Krishna Prema only. Now, at that stage, what happens? He tries to find out who is the Supreme Lord, who is the individual spirit soul, what is the material world. All these things he will come to know. And considering these questions, a devotee becomes learned in the scriptures. Automatically, all the scriptures, the essence of the scriptures will manifest in his heart, and he will know everything. That means you don't have to go to a school or college or any institution to study. At that stage, even if somebody has not learned anything, all this knowledge they will appear in his heart, and he shuns all offenses, sins, material, pious deeds, and aspirations to become one with the Lord. And at that stage, everything is unimportant for him. He shuns everything, and nothing remains with him. He does not have any sins because they get totally burnt. The material pious deeds or offenses, they do not stay with him. They are already gone only. And he comes to this stage and thinking himself as a servant of Hari, he thinks that he is the servant of Hari, servant of Lord Krishna, and that's all. His identity is that. And that is the highest stage. And in Sadhu Sangha, he drinks the blissful nectar of the Lord Hari's holy name. Still then, don't think that he will shun the Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha is even important, even at liberated stage. That is still required. And in that, amongst the sadhus, when he the dances, when he takes the name of the Lord, when he does Sankirtana, when he serves the Lord, that time he becomes very, very blissful. What I said so far in this 10b, the devotee is trying to find out who is Krishna, who I am, the Jiva, what is this temporary material world, and what is the eternal spiritual world, that is Chit. And he who is exclusively devoted to bhajana of Lord Krishna and has made an intelligent analysis of the Vaishnava Shastras under the guidance of Suddha Bhaktas, who has abandoned all offenses and attachment to Dharma and Adharma. They have no importance for him, and who can consider and dispose all questions. That servant of Lord Hari drinks the sublime beverage of Sri Harinama in the company of other Hari Bhaktas. This is what happens to him. Let us go further. Now, this slide is given in two parts. We'll see them separately. This will be part 1, and this will be part 2. Okay, we'll now go one by one. Now, the first one, we are learning about Bhava Tattva. Now, its constitutional characteristics of that is the Swarapalakshana of Bhava. What is this Bhava? Bhava is situated in unalloyed goodness or Suddha Sattva Vishesha Rupa Tattva. And it has no connection with Maya. As we know, in the material world, we are used to Sattva, Raja and Tama. But they are that is material Sattva. But this is transcending to Suddha Sattva. And that is unalloyed goodness. That is what is Suddha Sattva. And at that stage, at the stage of Bhava, one transcends to that stage, and at that stage there is no connection whatsoever with Maya. Maya has no jurisdiction to act on that such a devotee who has attained the stage of Bhava. Then what is its nature, Swarupa? Now the Swarupa is the Krishna is the supreme object of worship, and his Swarupa can only be known through his internal potency. That means through his internal potency only will be able to understand, and by no other means. And how that internal potency, we do not have any control. With our own efforts also we cannot have control or have jurisdiction over internal potency. That can only happen with the mercy of Lord Krishna only. That means our only job is to satisfy Krishna. Once he becomes happy, he will shower his blessings on us and we will achieve all these things. This is possible. And there are three aspects of his Swarupa Shakti. Satchit Ananda, Sat, that is eternity, and that is the Sandhini Shakti, spiritual cognizance or Samavit Shakti, and his pleasure potency or Hladini Shakti. Now the knowledge and taste of an object, that is Krishna, only through the Samvit Shakti and Hladini Shakti, and not the I said the Samvit Shakti and the Hladini Shakti, and not through the Sandhini Shakti. Now, Bhava is also known as Rati. Rati and Bhava, they are the same thing, and it is a ray of prema. If Krishna prema is the sun, and then this Bhava is the ray only, ray of the sun. It is just a very small, insignificant portion or a fraction of that sun, and or a sprout of prema premankur. And one must know and understand all these individual components to grasp how Bhava manifests in a devotee's heart, as explained, given in the other slide. Now, then the two kinds we'll see in another slide, and the 9 symptoms of its appearance we'll also see in another slide, and the two kinds of Bhava Rasa, we'll see them later on. Now here, in this slide, what we have seen, the characteristics, features of Bhava is that it is situated in unalloyed goodness. Suddha Sattva Vishesha Rupa Tattva. It can be compared to the tiny ray of the prema, that is the sun, like the sun. Now the constitutional characteristic, that is the Swarupa Lakshana of Bhava, is that it is situated in unalloyed goodness, Visuddha Sattva. And Bhava is also known by the name Rati, and is sometimes called as sprout of prema, premankura. Now the propensity for divine knowledge, that is the Samavit Vritti, is an aspect of the internal potency, Swarupa Shakti of Krishna, and in the state of unalloyed goodness, Suddha Sattva, it has no connection with Maya. Then when Samvit Shakti combines with the propensity for unalloyed bliss, that is Hladini Shakti, the essential aspect of that combination is called Bhava. I'll repeat this. Please remember, when the Samavit Shakti combines with Hladini Shakti, then the essential aspect of that combination, it becomes Bhava. Now, one obtains knowledge of an object by means of the propensity for consciousness or Samvit Vritti, and one tests that object through the propensity of Ladini Vritti. And now Krishna is the supreme object, and his Swarupa can only be known through the all enlightening propensity of Swarupa Shakti and not by the mental faculty of the marginal Jiva. When the Swarupa Shakti manifests herself within the heart of the Jiva, the mercy of Krishna or his bhakta, then the Sambit Vritti, that is the cognitive faculty of the Swarupa Shakti, begins to act within the heart. Now, when that happens, the knowledge of the spiritual realm, that is revealed. Now, the spiritual world is constituted of Suddha Sattva, whereas the material world is constituted of a combination of the three modes of material nature, that is the Sattva, Raja and Tama. Now, the essential combination of Ladini Shakti with the knowledge of the spiritual world enables one to test the sweetness of the spiritual world when that test attains fullness, and it is called prema. Now, if prema is compared to the sun, bhava can be compared to a ray of sun. Now, the constitutional nature, swarupa of bhava is that it is a ray of the sun of prema, and its unique characteristics is that it purifies the heart of the jiva and thus causes the heart to become softened or melted. This we have also seen in the various courses earlier. Now, the word ruchi means the desire to obtain the service of Radha and Krishna, the desire to do that which is favorable for Krishna, Anukulya Avilasa, and the desire to serve Krishna with love and affection. And in the conditioned state, the Baddha Jiva, the bhava first manifests in the mental faculties and then becomes identified with them. Therefore, although bhava is self-manifest, swayam prakasa, it appears that it did not exist earlier. It did not exist previously. And that its manifestation was brought about by something else. This seems. But the natural function of bhava is to reveal the identity of Krishna and his sweet pastimes. And bhava manifests in the mental faculties, manavritti, yet it appears to have been manifested by some other faculty of knowledge. But in reality, the nature of rati is self-testing. In other words, it itself is the object of test and enjoyment for the devotee, and yet at the same time it becomes the cause of the Baddha Jiva relishing Krishna's Leela. Let us go on to the next slide. Yeah. Now, since Nitya Siddha, the first about how bhava manifests in the devotees, first we will see with the Nitya Siddha devotee. Since the Nitya Siddha devotees, the Suddha Sattva is eternally present, and the bhava is self-established in them. Hence, no question is bhava's manifestation in their heart. It does not manifest in their heart. But in the Baddha Jivas, conditioned souls, the state of bhava first manifests in the mental faculty. In reality, the nature that is swarupa of rati is self-testing, swayam aswadana swarupa, and it is in itself the object of test and enjoyment of the devotee. Now, go through serial 1. The swarupa shakti manifests within the heart of the devotee either by direct mercy of Krishna or indirectly by that of his confidential devotees, that is the pure devotees. These are the two ways. And Krishna's Sambit Shakti is divine knowledge giving potency plus Ladini Shakti, which we spoke, that is his pleasure giving potency, together begin to act within the devotee's heart. Then once this happens, then what will happen? Now the essential combination of these two potencies of the Lord reveals the signs of Krishna, Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana, along with its transcendental taste enables the devotee to experience in his heart. Now, when it appears in the heart, then the devotee, he starts releasing this in his heart only. And the manifestation of bhava causes softening or melting of the heart, marsana. Then next second, beginning arousal of horripilation and the other transformations of ecstasy, post sattvika vikara. All these things, they happen. And please remember that the bhava arising from the mercy of Krishna or his devotee, that is the Parsada, is bhava that occurs spontaneously without the performance of any sadhana. We'll see about this slightly later. Now, let us go on to the next slide. Okay. Now, let us have a 5 minutes break. Hare Krishna. I don't know why it is 00. Okay, I'll remind you after 5 minutes. 1 minute left. Okay, welcome back. We'll go to the next slide and comments from where we had left. Now here we will be learning about the two kinds of bhava according to its place of origin. Now, what are the two places of origin? First is primarily from sadhana bhakti. Like we are doing sadhana bhakti, and sadhana bhakti has two parts, Vaidhi bhakti and Raganuga bhakti, we'll see. And second, rarely ever from the mercy of Krishna or his devotees. These two types of bhavas. Now let us learn about the primarily from the sadhana bhakti. Now in these two parts, the Vaidhi bhakti and Raganuga bhakti. Under the Vaidhi bhakti, what happens? First creates faith, Adho Shraddha of Rupa Goswami. We have the very beginning or first stage is Shraddha only. And from faith comes Nishtha. Nishtha means steadiness and determination. One has to remain steady in his devotional practice and determined to reach the end. Then only he can proceed in the sadhana bhakti. And then what is going to happen? Nishtha develops into ruchi or attraction toward Krishna. The devotee gets attracted toward Krishna, starts loving Krishna, and this love starts coming spontaneously. This is the very beginning. And then what happens? Ruchi progresses into attachment to Krishna, asakti. Asakti means the devotee cannot stay even 1 second without Krishna. And finally, what happens? Love for Krishna, or what is known as rati or bhava, it arouses in the devotee. This is what is the process in Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. And what happens in Raganuga bhakti? Ruchi appears at once without intervening stages. It doesn't go through all these 5 stages because it is already there with the devotee. Like the Brajagopis, the Brajavasis, they loved Krishna spontaneously. They didn't have to go to any school or college to learn about all these processes. Like us, we are learning. They didn't, because it was in their heart and it got aroused then and there. But when we go through the sadhana bhakti stages, we have to go through each and every stage, and then finally we'll get this spontaneous love for Krishna. Love for Krishna, that is known as rati or bhava. And what is the second thing? Rarely ever from the mercy of Krishna or his devotee. But Krishna's mercy is bestowed in how many ways? 3 ways. By words, by glance, by the manifest in the heart. These are the 3 ways. And mercy of the Krishna's devotees. Now, mercy of the Krishna's devotees, what we said, all these things, they are very, very rare. Dhruva and Prahlada attained bhava for the Lord by Narada Muni's mercy only. Narada Muni was their spiritual master. So did in the hearts of innumerable people by the mercy of Rupa Sanatana and the other associates of Mahaprabhu. All these associates, the Goswamis and thereafter all the Acharyas, and by their mercy, many people got, and this is what is known as mercy of Krishna's devotees. But please remember, this is very, very rare. It doesn't come just like that. And then the second is, oh best of twice born, may the supremely auspicious, blissful, and uninterrupted bhakti arise within you, Vachika. The sages in the forest never seen Krishna. That is we are talking of the Naimisaranya when the Lord Rama went there. But simply by his vision, they received the bhava. This is Alokadana. And Sukadeva Goswami received the Lord's mercy in the heart, that is in the Hridaya, that is the heart. And Jagai Madhai, they received the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus, we saw three types of, three ways, by words, Vachika, by granting vision, and by grace grace manifest in the heart of the devotee. And suppose that Krishna bestows his mercy upon some Brahmana by saying, O best of twice born Brahmana, may supremely auspicious, blissful, and uninterrupted bhakti arise within you. Then simply by these words, Vachika Prasada, it will arise within the heart of the devotee. And like the Naimisaranya rishis residing in the forest had never seen Lord Krishna or any of his manifestations, but they attained his darsana, and then spontaneously bhava arose in their hearts. And such is the power of Krishna's mercy. And this is an example of bhava arising and due to Krishna's granting his vision, Alokadana. And bhava that arises within the heart due to mercy is called Hrida Bhava. And this is observed in the life history of Sukadeva Goswami and many other devotees. And when Krishna descended as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there were many instances of the three kinds of bhavas arising from his mercy. One cannot count the number of people who were filled with bhava when they saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we know Jagai and Madhai, the examples of those who obtained bhava because of the Lord's words. And Jiva Goswami obtained bhava from within his heart by Gauranga's mercy. Let us go on to the next slide. Now, the 9 symptoms of bhava's appearance. When it appears in the heart, what are the symptoms? There are 9 of them. We learn about them. First is tolerance, shanti or shama. What does that mean? It means one remains peaceful even when there is a cause for anger or mental agitation. He does not get agitated under any circumstances. This is what happens to a person who has attained the stage of bhava. Then what is the second? Second is concern that time should not be wasted. Abhyartha kalatva. That means one does not let a moment pass without hearing, chanting, or remembering the Lord. He does not waste any time whatsoever, not even a second in 24 hours in a day. And this is what happens at the bhava stage. And what is the third? Detachment, virakti, detachment from sense gratification. He does not think of sense gratification in any way because his only job is to satisfy the senses of Lord Krishna. And detachment should not be just external, but from within one's heart. And there are very many people you will find in this material world who just because of a change of dress only, they think others will take them to be detached. But that is not the thing. The sense, the dress is external only. it has no meaning. One has to be detached from within only. Then the fourth is freedom from pride, manasunyata. That is false pride arising from material wealth, beauty, high position, education, high birth, etc., which can come and go, but not spiritual assets. The spiritual assets do not come and go, they stay there forever. And whereas all these things, what I said, material, the wealth, beauty, high position like this, they come and go. And that's why one should be free from pride. And the fifth is bound by hope, asa bandha. That means answering faith that no matter what Krishna will bestow his mercy and protect me, he does not fear. Fear does not come to him because he knows under all circumstances, Lord Krishna will come and protect him because he is the protector. And how it happens? Because he has got 100% faith on him, unlike us. We do not have yet developed 100% faith on Krishna. But at the stage of bhava, this 100% faith will be established in the heart, and one will not fear anything, come what may. Then next six is the deep longing, utkantha, extreme greed to obtain one's heart's desire, lolyam. He will want only to meet Krishna and nothing else. And this is extreme greed. He will leave anything and everything for this aim. And the seventh is taste to always chant Harinama, Namavane Sadaruchi. That means incessant engagement with Harinama with faith that it is the highest of many different types of bhajana. As we know, Harinam Sankirtana, that is the best kind, especially in Kali Yuga. And at the stage of bhava, this devotee, he will always chant the name of Hari, name of Krishna, and he has no other job. Then the eighth is attraction for hearing about Sri Hari's transcendental qualities, asakti tad gunakshana. That is, no matter how much one hears the qualities of Krishna, one never becomes satiated. That means he will keep on hearing about Krishna, but still he will not be satisfied. Like we get satisfied after hearing for a few hours only, but this devotee will not get satisfied. He will keep on hearing, like you see, when Sukadeva Goswami was reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj and all the other sages, they sat there for 168 hours, 7 days, 7 nights, without any lunch break or dinner break or any break. That happens, that can happen to somebody at this stage. And the ninth is affection for the places of Krishna's pastimes, tad vasati sthala priti, extreme affection for the Lord's abodes where he resides and eternally annexed sweet pastimes like Vrindavana, Dwaraka, and others where the Lord performed his pastimes. And a person who has come to this stage, he will have liking, he will be very eager to spend time there. Then let us go on to the next slide. Okay. Now the 9 symptoms we are learning. Now the question is, when this kind of emotion is present, can we say undoubtedly that Krishna Rati is definitely present? Please give a couple of examples for me to understand. He is asking, we have seen all these 9 examples, when 9 symptoms, when the 9 symptoms, one or some of them or all of them, they appear, can we say that Krishna Rati has appeared in this devotee? This is what is the question. Now let us see what Babaji Mahasaya is saying. He is saying no. When the heart is pure, then Rati arises within it. And the symptoms that have been described may appear when other kinds of devotional emotions are manifested. And that means not necessarily. And the next point is, Bhava does not appear in a person who is not a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, when a person who desires material sense gratification or impersonal liberation manifests a glimpse of bhava, that is bhava vasa, bhava abhasa, that is not true bhava. We will be learning about that also. Rather, it is only mocking imitation, bhava doratmya, of genuine bhava. It is not genuine bhava. And this type can appear. What are these we will learn in the next slide. A person may stand before the deity of Krishna for the entire day while may faint and become unconscious, and yet he may not display the bhava. Some situation may occur to a devotee of goddess Durga while incessantly weeping and reeling on the ground without any trace of bhava, and that is not bhava. There are two types, we'll see that. Now the next question is, some may participate in Harinam Sankirtana, but thirsting for material sense gratification or impersonal liberation, they may display the symptoms or bhava. What shall we call that display? Now the answer is, only fools think that display of wonderful, genuine, that type of display is wonderful. But genuine devotees would avoid these persons and say that outward display is only a glimpse of bhava or bhava vasa. Now, here what we learn, you would have heard or you would have seen, actually I have also seen myself, that some people, they worship Durga Devi and they may say, the Durga Devi, please give me benediction, please give me wealth, and then thinking that Durga Devi is fulfilling his heart's desire. As soon as she becomes pleased, that devotee, the so-called devotee, he exclaims, "Oh Durga," and rolls on the ground before her crying. Now this person's bhava, when he cries and falls on the ground, is not Suddha bhava. It is sometimes described as bhava avasa and sometimes as false or impure emotion. Bhava cannot arise unless one performs unadulterated worship. That is Suddha, that is devotional service, not mixed with jnana and karma. Now, this type of people also you find. Then let us go to the, I think, the last slide. The two kinds of bhava vasa. Now, bhava abhasa means, abhasa means it seems like that, but it is not that. There are two types. One is pratibimba rati abhasa, and the second is chaya rati abhasa. Now, let us learn about them a little more. Now, pratibimba rati abhasa, or reflection of ecstatic love. What is it? Why it is called this way? Now, what is happening? A person desiring the happiness of impersonal liberation puts on a false show of the symptoms of bhava. And this is pratibimba rati avasa. He is not showing, he just wants that others should feel that he is a pure devotee and he has reached the stage of bhava, but he is only pretending or acting. That's why that is not pure, that is rati avasa. Now, since the process of attending impersonal knowledge is very difficult and troublesome, he may opt for chanting the holy name of the Lord in the hope that to easily get impersonal liberation. He may then make out an outward display of the ecstatic symptoms, and such as shedding tears and standing erect on of the body hairs. All this merely a glimpse, abhasa of true bhava. That is not true bhava at all. It is very difficult to find out, but please remember that all these symptoms, they are very, very special. And once in a while you may see them, and you may not see them ever in your lifetime also, because they are so rare. And the second one is Chayarati Avasa, or the deep shadow of ecstatic love. And what is it, and wow, it is, why it is called like this? Now, an honest neophyte devotee may not be learned in the science of spiritual life, may come in contact with activities, times, places, or persons that are dear to the Lord. Now, by this contact, he may experience a small, beneficial, but merely a shadow devotion, but true rati, devotion of true rati. This shadow of devotion may appear in him because of his pious deeds in the past. It is appearing because of his pious deeds, but it is just a fraction. Now, through sadhu sangha, this shadow of love can be transformed into genuine pure love of the Lord, but with offenses it may disappear. And this is very difficult. Now, let us understand this by explaining in some other way. Now, pratibimba abhasa or rati abhasa. Now, people who desire liberation, they think that one can only get mukti or liberation through Brahma Jnana. But the spiritual discipline of Brahma Jnana is very difficult and very troublesome. One may fall down on the path also. And some of them come to understand that mukti may be achieved simply by performing Sankirtana, that is Harinam Sankirtana. And that's why they think like this and expecting this, they get themselves engaged in this. Then what happens without their only aim is to get mukti or liberation without going through great difficulty. Then it becomes a semblance or avasa of the bodily transformations, such as the tears, horripilation, like this. All these things may be seen, but this is not the actual, this is pratibimba. Now, about the reflected avasa, if those who desire liberation or material sense enjoyment, they have good fortune in associating with devotees, then they also begin to adopt the process of Harinam Sankirtana. At that time, some reflection of the bhava in the sky of this devotee, the Suddha Bhakta, the heart also appears in the heart of those who are thirsty for liberation. Now, this reflection is called pratibimba. Now, Suddha Bhava never arises in the hearts of those who desire material sense enjoyment or liberation. But Bhava Abhasa arises in them when they see the Bhava of Suddha Bhaktas. Now, then about the Chaya Rati Abhasa, Chaya Bhava Abhasa. Now, when a Kanishta Adhikari, Kanishta Bhakta, who is not acquainted with the knowledge of the self, that is the Atma Jnana or Atma Tattva, associates with the activities, the time, places, the devotees who are dear to the Lord Krishna, then what appears in his heart is described as Chaya or Rati, which may appear in his heart. And compared to Rati itself, the shadow is insignificant by nature and it is also unsteady, but it creates curiosity in the mind of the devotee and it is going to destroy all his sorrows. But this is known as Rati Avasa. Now the bhakti of these devotees may be pure up to a certain limit, but it is not resolute and that is why it is giving Rati Avasa. And in any case, such Chaya Avasa only arises through the influence of many pious activities in one's previous lifetimes. And then because of this, what is happening by the association of Satsanga or Vaishnavas, association of Vaishnavas, this Chaya Bhava Avasa becomes pure and subsequently gives rise to Suddha Bhava. Nonetheless, one should bear in his mind that no matter how developed Suddha, this Bhava Avasa may be, it gradually wanes like the moon in the dark hour of a lunar month if one commits some offense toward a Vaishnava. That's why one should be very careful about the Vaishnava Aparadha. And if one repeatedly associates with those who desire liberation, his bhava will also become bhava avasa, or he may fall victim to the pride of thinking himself to be the Supreme Lord. And this is why it is sometimes seen that when the new devotees they are dancing, they develop the desire for liberation. And these new devotees do not think carefully and consider their situation, and they associate with those who seek liberation. And this should be avoided. Let us go on to the last slide. Now, Babaji's recommendation to Brajanatha to serve Lord from within his Grihastha Dharma. Hearing Babaji's teachings of Dasamula and the Bhavatattva, both the nephew and uncle became stunned. Their hearts were filled with love, and in their Dainya Bhava, they expressed how poor, lowly, and worthless they felt. And Babaji, out of great compassion, accepted them as his disciples. Then Vijay Kumar took this opportunity to brief Babaji how his young nephew Brajanath did not want to get married against the wishes of his mother and grandmother in favor of accepting Paribrajaka sannyasa. As his uncle, he concurred the decision, but they decided to follow whatever Babaji and their guru recommend. Now, citing the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Babaji highly recommended that Brajanatha, being so young, should serve Lord Krishna from within his Grihastha Dharma. The devotees who received the greatest mercy from Mahaprabhu were all householders. Besides, as long as one is not qualified to become a sannyasi, one should remain as a householder and serve Krishna in that ashrama. Both the nephew and his uncle, they humbly decided to follow his guru's instructions. Now, with this, I have come to the end of today's class. Let us, now this session is open for question and answers and your comments. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Nice class, Prabhuji. I have just one question, Prabhuji. Basically, bhava, it's a combination of Samvit and Ladini Shakti. You explained very nicely. But also there is a third also Sandhini, that is eternity also there. So does it have a role, that eternity there, or just the cognizant of Lord's internal potency, or, as you mentioned, it's Swarupa and then Ladini, there's a pleasure potential. They take him forward as a bhava. So what happens to the, Sandhini?
Okay, what you said, all the three, they are part of Lord's internal potency.
Right.
It's Swarupa Shakti. But these two only, that is Samvit Shakti and Hladini Shakti, when they get combined, it produces Bhava and not the Sandhini Shakti. That is what, yes, Prabhuji. Chara Prabhuji, your mic is off.
Mic is off.
Mic is off, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so this is mentioned as a three-part of the Swarupa Shakti. The two parts, the second and the third part, the second part is the knowledge-giving potency, Samvit Shakti. That gives knowledge, not of the worldly knowledge, not of the material knowledge, okay? It gives all the knowledge that is required in the devotional service. Come closer and closer to Lord Krishna. Tesham satati yuktanam bayatam pratipurvakam vidami uddhi yugam tam yono upayantite. So by which he can come closer and closer. So that Samavita Shakti gives Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam, all the science of Krishna, so that we can understand him and follow him, The third is the Ladini Shakti, the blissful potency of that. So that these two, second and third potency, they are intimately involved And other thing I want to tell you that whatever you seen today, all these elements that you saw, that is really, you have to remember that, because now we are going to talk Rasa Tattva in the next week onwards. And all this thing has a direct bearing to what we are going to be talking about. Okay. So don't forget all this thing, what is just you learned today. Now, the specific question about your question about Sandhini Shakti. Sandhini Shakti is the eternity. So anything and everything that has to do with bhakti process is eternal, that aspect of it. Once bhakti starts, it never leaves the heart. It may get a little bit stunted, depending upon your offenses that you might commit, but it still remains there all the time once it started. Not only of this life, it will continue next life onwards. So that is the aspect of eternity. Whatever once you started, everything in bhakti process to Krishna, it never stops. It continues all the time. It's like the plant that is grown, Navada Bhakti seed is planted in the heart, the field of the heart. It will grow definitely, continuously. Sometimes when you don't water it, when you grow the plant, you need to put water, right? All the time. It need to have its sunlight all the time. And it need to have some kind of fertilizer in that you have to provide. And you have to, but to also make sure don't let the weeds grow. So in bhakti process also, like the weeds are what? Asata Sangha. That is weeds. You don't want that Asata Sangha, those kind of associations that are detrimental in your bhakti process, that you have to watch out that. So all these things, eternity is there, but you need to watch out that the plant is already there. If you don't give water for a couple of days, you'll see the leaves. Have you noticed the Tulsi plant? When you don't water it for 2-3 days, Tulsi plant will show that it needs it. She is screaming out that she needs water. So that is what plant have, that kind of. See, they don't speak, but they will let you know what they need, that by looking at it. Even sometimes, let's see, when the plant is not given enough sunlight, it will show that the leaves will be like lying down like that. So eternity is there, but you have to understand in what aspect of the eternity is there. Eternity. So bhakti process, once started, it never dies. Bhakti is always alive. Hare Prabhu. So that is the part of Sandhini Shakti.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Any other question or comment?
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna.
please.
Hare Krishna, Lalit Priya Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I was just so amazed by this whole logical and scientific explanation of Samvit Vritti, Hladini Vritti. I was going to ask the same question as Radha Vinod Prabhuji. Both of you clarified, Charu Prabhuji and yourself clarified that. Thank you so much. Just a comment that it is so mind-boggling that how they thought so scientifically and presented it so scientifically and logically. I mean, it's so easy, like step by step, it is going on. My only question is from the last classes, if I may ask, which one leads to, I mean, between the Ragatmika and Raganuga Bhakti, which one leads to which one? And what is the complexity of both of these bhakti process? Like, can you please elaborate on that, Prabhuji, just for my understanding, if that is possible? Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, it is very simple. Like we said, sadhana bhakti, we are doing sadhana bhakti, Sravanam Kirtanam, like this. And then once we mature, then Raganuga bhakti. But how Raganuga bhakti will commence? When we follow a Ragatmika bhakta, that is a permanent associate of the Supreme Lord Krishna in Vraja. If we follow him, like somebody wants to the progress in the line of say Vatsalya Bhava, then he says, I will follow Jashoda Mata or Nanda Maharaj. on the on the footsteps, then it is raganuga bhakti. But at that stage, this love for Krishna will come spontaneously. Now it is not coming in our heart spontaneously. We have to labor, we have to think, we have to imagine. But what about the Ragatmika Bhaktas? The Ragatmika Bhaktas, that is the Lord's permanent associates, they are already in love with Krishna and they don't have to go through any of these stages. It is already there. But in us also it is there. But it has to develop in a particular process. We have to go through the various stages, various steps. Then only we will be able to reach. I'll request Charuprabhuji to say something.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So Mataji might ask the very obvious next question. Those Ragatmik Bhakta, we cannot see them. They are not there in our vision actually. They are always there, but they are to our vision, they are not there. Then how are we going to follow them? Prabhuji, you want to answer that?
Okay.
So-
How we are going to follow somebody whom we are not seeing? Now, this it may happen in two ways. This we have already studied in the Shastras from various scriptures, and secondly, it may appear in the heart only. Like we spoke, all the knowledge will appear in the heart at that stage, at the stage of bhava. Then when it appears, then one will come to know what is this. And that's how you start following that particular devotee. And the guidance will also be given by the spiritual master at that stage. Now I leave it to you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
So
But
Mataji, those eternal residents of Vrindavan, they are always there. They are the eternal associates of the Lord, and their representatives keep coming all the time. There is never a time when Krishna's confidential associates are not there. Okay, so we are like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's all the disciples, particularly Rupa Goswami. In fact, we devotees are called Rupa Nuga devotees. Anuga means to follow. So we are following. Rupa Goswami gave detailed information, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that Srila Prabhupada, that was the Sanskrit text, Srila Prabhupada translated in English called Nectar of Devotion. So those information will be always there. And Prabhuji just said, there's the Shastras there, okay? The scriptures, that is always there. There is a Sadhu Sangha. That's what the role of Sadhu Sangha. Always when we are in trouble, when we are left behind, the saintly personalities, if we keep associating with them, they keep guiding us moving forward, So these are the essence of the Ragatma Bhakta, those very Atma, Raga, Atma, they are very self, they are the embodiment of this Krishna Prema, So that is what means Ragatmika. And Raga, Anuga, we are following in their footsteps. Okay, I vote.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. In one of the slides, it said that for sadhana bhaktas, it manifests first mentally or in the mind, and then goes to the heart. So when we are following a ragatmika bhakti based on scriptures and the pastimes that we kind of know from the sadhu sangha, so that is from mental meditation, and then it gets transferred to the heart, or from the heart to the mind.
Now, first of it's in the heart, right in the heart. See, remember, Krishna is there in our heart. He's providing information from within our heart. In fact, all this point that you learn, how this Krishna Rati means the bhava for Krishna developed. So that first enters in the heart, actually. Okay, and whatever is in your heart, as we'll follow, we'll see the genesis of all these different bhavas, right? The first of all, there is a sthai bhava. Okay, sthai bhava means there are stabilized bhava, and that stabilized bhava will depend separately from you, me, and others. Okay, we all have a particular inclination of a particular rasa, so that kind of bhava will be always there in our heart, that's called sthai. And sthai bhava then mixes with other bhavas like vibhava, anubhava, sattvic bhava, vyabhichari bhava, like that, So these bhavas are right in the heart. And one of the slides that I prepared for the lesson 33, 34, that you might have seen that because I already shared that, you will see all this thing that Sharad Prabhuji today talked about. You have to remember all these things is going to come back again, because that's when we talk about the genesis, how this bhava arises in the heart, and from that heart, how it transmitted the mental frame, and mental frame to the bodily frame, all the senses, all these anubhavas are the external symptoms, like becoming stabdha, means stunned, crying, rolling on the ground, the external symptoms. But whatever is in the heart, that comes outside, okay, through the intermediate, the mind, the mental frame. So first is the heart, and in the heart, that that Ladini Shakti descends there, and of course Swarupa Shakti descends there in the heart. So that you have to remember, first the heart is there, okay, and then from heart it goes to mind, and mind then transmits externally on the body. Hare Krishna. So Mataji, did I answer your question?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Now this opens another question, but I'll leave for others to ask their question. I'll come back if time permits, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay, any other question from any of the devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes.
So, Prabhuji, this is related to slide 10, where it says that some who participate in Harinama Sankirtana desiring liberation, in those people also sometimes these symptoms of bhava are displayed. But are these genuine, or this is a show?
These are Jnanis, they want liberation, they want mukti, they want to merge with in the Brahman effulgence. And as we know that the path is very, very troublesome, very lengthy, and that's why they get the idea somehow that if we do Harinam Kirtana, then we'll be able to get mukti easily. That's what we spoke. This is regarding them. Those Jnanis only. But ultimately what happens when one comes in contact with the devotees, it may take some time, but they get benefited. And that's what we spoke.
Okay.
Please remember, whatever we have learned in Ujjwala Nilamani, all those things, they will come back in the subsequent lessons. And that's why.
And something more than that, whatever we learned in Ujjwala Nilamani, very detailed aspect of we learned about it, especially this Rasa Tattva, all these things. But something, as I am preparing my PowerPoint for the more advanced lessons, you will see you are going to learn even more than that, what you learned from Ujjwala Nilamani, and more clear explanations. As Lalita Priya Mataji mentioned, everything is presented so logically, so scientifically. Everything will make sense to you.
That's why I'll request, please go through the slides of the classes, and please refer to Ujjwala Nilamani slides also whenever such things they come, because they'll come and it will be a little difficult to understand if one has no connection with them. Any other question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I don't know why I have not received slide 30, lesson 30.
Listen, not got it.
You are part of our members, so you should be receiving. If you're not receiving, then I'll check back again.
31 and 32 I have received. 28 and 29 I have received. But this particular 30, lesson 30 I have not received.
Any rest of you, did you receive PowerPoint with 30? Rest of you, please.
Yes, Prabhuji, I received.
Yes,
did not
Prabhuji, we have received.
Three together. 30 also is there. 28, 29, after that 30 is there. 30 is there.
Oh, okay, I will send again then. I will send again.
It is in one mail, Prabhuji. Lesson 30 to 32. All three lessons
Yes.
are in one mail.
One mail. And then
So
number
whenever I
three, it
send
shows number
when,
20.
whenever I send the information about the next week's classes, in that particular thread, I attach all the PowerPoints, you know. If I modify PowerPoint, then also I put it in that same thread. So just so that you don't have to look, search anywhere else. Everything will be coming in that thread, you know. So that lesson highlights that I talk about, in that lesson highlights, all the PowerPoints I attach to it, you know. But if you are not received, I will send you again.
It is in September, 25th September mail. 25th
શું હર્ષા
September
શું
email.
હમણાં તો નહીં
September
બરાબર.
25th ના email માં છે. September 25th
અચ્છા
ના
email
email
માં
માં
છે.
છે.
So it is there. So Mataji, the Dipti Mata, not Dipti Mataji, sorry. And you check back again in that, okay? And I will send you again. Hare Krishna.
Any
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
any other?
Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
Yes.
I think Samta Mataji was asking a question. Is it about the Sanchari Bhava? So that has been reflected.
Sanchari bhavas, they come and go actually. The very Sanskrit word sanchara, sanchara means moving, okay? And the other, in that lesson 34, I've explained everything very clearly. What exactly Vyabhichari bhava and Sanchari bhava, they are one and the same, you know. So the actual explanation of the word, I've already given that. You will see that it will become very clear to you. So whatever that is presented today, Sharad Prabhuji, it exactly is the foundation today, what you heard, okay? And we are going to hear details building up from today's lesson onwards, okay? How these bhavas originate in the heart, what is the exactly sequence of events from starting from Sthai Bhava, and how it develops further, how the vibhavas interact, what are the vibhavas, what are the anubhavas, what are the Vyabhichari or the Sanchari bhavas. They are all going to be, actually we discuss all these things in other courses also, actually, beginning with Preeti Sandarbha and Ujjwal Nilabani also, we went through that, okay? But here, Babaji is going to explain something from an entirely specialized point of view. And they're all originated from the very nature of the questions that Vrajnatha and his uncle Vijay Kumara, they're asking. Because of the particular question they ask, then you get more information, more specific information that particular teacher will give you, you know. So that is what we are going to experience. We are going to see that even though we are covered in Preeti Sandarbha, even though we are covered Ujjwal Nilabanu at great details, but something different, something from different perspective, we are going to hear that, okay? So that's what I'm always encouraging all of you. When you ask questions from your point of view, your particular way you ask questions, more information the person will give you that, you know. It will automatically come out that, you know. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Any other question? If no question, then Lalit Priya Mataji had some question. Please go
Yes,
ahead.
Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. So with the Samvit and Hladini potencies, that is Chit and Anand, I know we have stories and examples that when in a South India temple, there was a Brahmin who was reading Gita upside down. He didn't have knowledge, but he only knew about Krishna, how great was Krishna. But still there was some point of knowledge there. So when things manifest in the heart, so it is without knowledge, because how that is possible for people like sadhana bhaktas like us, without knowledge, even knowing Krishna, without knowing him, how you can love a person? So knowledge plays an important part there. Then the Anand Shakti comes in. So how that works, Prabhuji? I know this has been mentioned in different courses and different aspects. Now, because of the slides, I'm just a little bit confused how this would manifest first in the heart, then go to the mind without the knowledge, how it would, work that way.
Mataji, let me answer you that. That's a very, very intelligent question. Very good question, actually. So all these three potencies are there as part of Samvit Shakti. They don't work like independent of each other. They work in concert, So in the beginning, very beginning, you have to develop Krishna Rati, okay? That you are becoming inquisitive, but knowing Krishna, who Krishna is really, okay? So that is where the Sadhu Sangha and all other elements that come in handy actually. And then the knowledge giving potency automatically will start giving you knowledge. But first you have to clear all the extraneous matter from your heart. Okay. And then things will come more and more. And to remove all the offenses, remove all the aparadhas, everything, then will become more and more focused. So the first thing is Sai Bhava that is there in the heart. It's always there. It's dormant actually. In the Nitya Siddha, there's no question about manifestation. It's already there. But the Baddha Jivas like us, we were conditioned at one time. Now we have gradually become freer and freer as we engage in Krishna conscious activities. Then that automatically that bhava, that bhava is already there. Ladini Shakti, blissful experience. Automatically the knowledge also will keep on coming in that. It will keep flowing into that. In that particular verse, that one of the 4 verses of Bhagavad Gita, that's called the seed verses, right? So that seed verse is that one of that. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam. So when you worship the Lord with loving devotional service, then the verse says, Krishna says, that time only, when the other extraneous matter, selfish motives disappear gradually from your heart, and you don't have to make an effort actually. More and more you turn your face towards Krishna in your bhakti process, automatically undesirable elements is going to dissipate. Okay? And the good things will come. Good things means the knowledge giving potency will start manifesting. Tesham satata yuktanam. That's the first requirement. Okay? Always continuously engage. And that continuous engagement is promoted, catalyzed by Sadhu Sangha. And then this knowledge giving potency will start giving knowledge from within. Krishna is going to give within. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam. Okay. And what is that kind of buddhi? Yena mama upayanti te, by which you can come closer and closer to me. So whatever the knowledge that is required, gradually, step by step, is going to enter in your life, in your heart, from heart to your mind. And then Sadhu Sangha is the catalyzing power that will keep on making sense to you, whatever you are learning. Okay. Now for this class, you are obviously learning more and more every time. And I prepare the classes. Sharat Prabhu is giving the class explanation, explaining everything. That is all we are also, I myself also getting benefited out of by this discussing that knowledge is becoming really stabilized in their heart. So that is constant process is there. And all these different potencies, they work in concert. Sandhini Shakti, Samavit Shakti, Ladini Shakti, they are not independent of each other. They all work in concert. Right.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
હરે કૃષ્ણ પ્રભુજી, દંડવત પ્રણામ. પ્રભુજી, આ સંદર્ભમાં એક બહુ સરસ શ્લોકા છે શ્વેતાશ્વર ઉપનિષદમાં. હું બોલી શકું છું પ્રભુજી?
હા, પ્લીઝ બોલો.
हाँ, ये रीते તમે કહો છો ને, मतलब हमें जो नॉलेज अंदर से आता है उसके बारे में एक बहुत ही अच्छा सा श्लोक है. यस्य देवे परा भक्ति यथा देवे तथा गुरु तस्य ते कथिताय अर्थ प्रकाशन्ते महात्मन.
Very beautiful.
मतलब अगर अब पराभक्ति हम भगवान से भी करें और गुरु से भी करेंगे तो ऑटोमेटिकली जो नॉलेज है वो हमें अंदर से मैनिफेस्ट होता है। ये श्लोक का ये है प्रभु जी।
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, Raksha Mataji.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Thank you. Now we have the time is up. Who will recite the Nrsimha prayers?
ललिता माता जी।
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Pralada Lada Daine. Pralada Lada Daine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatankanakalaye. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito narsimho parato narsimho. Ito narsimho parato narsimho. Yato yato yamitato narsimho. Yato yato yamitato narsimho. Bahi narsimho hridaye narsimho. Bahi narsimho hridaye narsimho. Nara Simhamadim Sharanam Prapadye. Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapadye. Tava Karakamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipo Tanubringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tava Karakamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipo Tanubringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nrsingadev Jaya Nrsingadev Jaya Nrsingadev Jaya Nrsingadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Bhakti Vigna Vinashka Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Bhagavan ki Jai Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Shri Gurudev ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Mataji, Mataji, before anybody leave, let us first express our grateful thanks to Sharad Prabhuji. Such a wonderful, wonderful presentation he did. And one of the most important topic, the Samula Tattva, he explained to us in a very, very wonderful way. So I really congratulate Sharad Prabhuji, and let us express our grateful thanks to from all of us to him. Thank you very much, Sharad Prabhuji. And I think Mataji his wife is going for a surgery, a knee replacement surgery. So let us wish him all the best, and Mataji recover very fast and come home. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so very much, Sharat Prabhuji, and thank you for
Prabhu
reminding us
Sad
Bhava
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you so much,
And we pray
Prabhuji.
for her successful
Thank you,
service.
Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Ask your family.
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Sharat Prabhuji. Very nice presentation.
Thank you so
Wonderful
very much.
presentation. Thank you, Prabhu. And
Thank
all
you,
the
thank
best wishes for your wife's surgery.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You're right.
Best wishes for your wife, Prabhuji.
Best wishes
Thank
to
you,
recover her fast recovery. Thank you.
thank you. I
Thank you,
thank
Chandra.
you.
Dandavat.
Thank you. It's all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. And then we meet tomorrow morning. And now the balance of the classes 31 onwards, Charu Prabhuji will be taking. And I am going just for a few days. Let me see how it progresses. I have an appointment with 3 doctors there in Bangalore. I'll discuss with them what is the time frame and how fast it is to be done and in which time frame. Then things will be known. Let us see.
So you are going to Bangalore, surgery is in the Bangalore?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Sanjeev Prabhu is there in Bangalore, remember that.
Yes. I will be meeting him also.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
we'll be
Thank
praying
you very
for
much.
progressive recovery, Prabhuji, for Mataji. Hari Bol. So we'll keep her in our prayers. Hari Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Hi, Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Prabhuji.